You started Independent Left News and Leftist Today, which Independent Left News really okay. Why don't you talk about why you decided to start doing this, what it does, all of that. Tell us all about it, because I think it's an invaluable service.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So it's really funny because I made notes and I'm like, wow, this reads a lot more impressive than it actually is every day. But so I noticed, especially after Bernie got knifed, this started back in 2020 after the second primary, and how influential the media was at swaying the narrative in literally practically overnight fashion. I mean, we were dancing in the streets after the Nevada primary. We're going to D.C. I'm booking my fucking tickets for the inauguration. We're going to have the first Jewish president ever. This is the greatest thing. He's going to fix. And there's going to be fights, and he's going to compromise, and we're going to get screwed. But at least, we're going to have our guy there, right? Yeah, no, not so much. With the flick of literally his finger, fling, and 2 phone calls, and a couple of Chris Matthews hysterics, and some CNN manipulation, and all of a sudden, the narrative about South Carolina, a red state that hasn't gone blue in 50 years, that decides all of a sudden who's winning the Democratic primary. I didn't understand it. It made no sense. And then again, Super Tuesday happens. Bernie wins California, and still he's losing. It's just my head exploded. And I said, it's the narrative management that's out of control, and it's corporate media that's doing it. So we've got to combat that and find the voices that are actually screaming against this and speaking truth against power, that aren't influenced by advertisers, that aren't influenced by big corporate and Wall Street, that aren't influenced by defense contractors and big pharma. And we've got to find those voices and put them all in one place, because right now they're all spread out. And so I just really, for my own sake, where can I find all this stuff in one place so that it was easy for me to find? So I called it Progressive News Daily, and initially it was shitlib stuff. It was TYT and Kyle Kalinske and Packman and Majority Report, and it's all of them. Humanist Report. Yes. I covered the whole spectrum. Nomiki, but I did discover, and I stumbled upon the Convo Couch, and I stumbled upon Nico, and I stumbled upon Richard Medhurst. And the more I listened and the more I paid attention, the more I realized what was being sold, and that it was a faux progressivism, quote unquote. And after 6 months, I saw them ignore I saw them ignore the People's Party convention, so they weren't really about third parties. And I saw them ignore, most importantly, and the next thing was the Assange trial. So
yes.
And I really had not, and I've been trying to convince them and talk to them about Richard Medhurst. You guys need to talk to this guy all summer long for 2020. And they just didn't want to, they weren't hearing it. It was just reaching a brick wall. This was on TYT. I was at this point still a supporter, and it just turned me against them the more that I saw. And when they ignored this trial, that was the biggest press freedom case of our lifetimes, where this guy is being persecuted like crazy, and you listen to the testimony that's going on here. How do you ignore that? I couldn't. So that was a big bellwether moment for me. But what motivates me is amplifying amazing people who get ignored by corporate media. That is the big thing. Again, and part of that is Jimmy Dore was a big part of that, and still is a big part of that, right? And again, now that they just keep pushing us further and further out, the people who actually advocate for freedom and for press freedom and for freedom of speech and for saying what's actually on your mind without. It's unreal. Well, the problem is whose truth? Everybody has their own truth, and that's
right.
That's what's killing us. Is everybody has their own version of what they think is the truth, and the lens and the bubble that they decide to get their media from that tells them what their truth is. And that's what's so frightening. That's why we're trying to crack this with independent media, with independent radio, talking to our friends about it. That was a big thing. Again, so back in September, right around the Assange thing, I said, what the hell is progressive? I'm not really progressive. I'm more independent, and I'm definitely to the left of the progressives and to the Democrats. So that's how Independent Left came up. And then I actually created an LLC, and and decided, look, all these logos and all this content that I'm sharing, I guess it has some value, so I should probably protect it and make sure that somebody wants to sue me for something, at least I've got some kind of protection against that. So that was the only reason to set up a corporation. I don't make any money with it. I actually lose money, and I give more money to content creators every month than I ever have taken in. Nobody's ever given me a dime other than Patreon supporters, which I really appreciate. But really, I fund this myself, and I put in time and effort, and I just love it. And
you put in a lot of time and a lot of effort.
Yes.
Let's be real.
Yes, I
yes.
do.
Yes. Yeah. No. And so basically what you do is you accumulate, different content from different creators. Right. And you have a newsletter that you put out that offers different video content, different articles. And it kind of just gives everybody like a one-stop shop for news, which I love because I have severe ADHD. I have a really hard time, staying focused, especially if I'm like on Twitter or something. Like I'll see a tweet and then I get distracted by another tweet. And so the fact that I can go, to your website and there's just, it's all right there. I don't have to go looking anywhere else. I don't have to go searching. It's just all right there in front of me. And I can, check out all of the content that I want to check out, is awesome. And I think that that's really helpful for a lot of people because people are busy. Like we don't have time. Everybody's got, a couple jobs and they got kids and they've got all this other stuff going on. So being able to go to one website and find a bunch of different content from multiple content creators is really helpful. It really is.
And it links, and yeah, thank you. And it does. That's Independent Left News. That automatically updates at noon Eastern every day. It pulls content from 150 different sources, and it links right to those sources. So we're not trying to take content or to take eyeballs or clicks or views. We want to get those views over to them and connect you to those sites. And we encourage people to support and amplify all those sites as well. In addition, then every day I try to put out a curated list through our Substack, Leftist.today, and that is just like the top 5 or 6 articles out of the 150 and top 5 or 6 videos out of the 150, 100 or 75 or so that get pulled from all the different channels that we pull from. Just like a sampling. Here's some of the things that I'm checking out that I think you guys might want to check out too.